Welcome to today's video. Today I'll be just ranking different study techniques on TierMaker. And this is someone else's template, so this is not something that I made. I got this idea from another YouTuber named Sebastian Perry. I don't really know how to pronounce his last name, but I highly recommend you check him out. So let's just get started with the video. So the different study techniques that I'll be ranking are rote learning, spaced repetition after recall, making notes, reviewing past papers, anki, cubing, study with music, rewatching lectures, online videos, reading notes, teaching others, mind maps, and the Pomodoro technique. I don't know why I said that, but those are the ones that I'm ranking. So the different ranks that we have from top to bottom is Ali Abdal, who is the productivity king, great, good, average, and then meh. Before I start, I just want to give a disclaimer that this is just what I personally think, like what works for me, and what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. So I know like some YouTubers might say that, like, I don't know, making notes isn't that useful for them, but for me, it is actually kind of useful. It's not like the best, but it is useful for my first time of learning. But I will get more into that when I review making notes as a study technique in general. So let's just get started. So before anything, I just want to say that active recall goes to the top, and so does spaced repetition. Where is it at here? They are absolutely the gods of the studying techniques. They have been proven time and time again to work by studies and in practice, everything. It always works. And Ali Abdal has a lot of good videos on it. Go watch those, and I'll probably make a video on it in the future, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, these definitely go on the top without question. Combined, they are amazing. They are awesome. Every good adjective there is. Okay, now we can move on to the rest of the techniques. So here is rote learning. I don't really want to talk about it that much, but it's not the best. Like, it's just repetition. It's not really spaced repetition. I think it's kind of meh. It's just like, sure, if you want to review like a certain like sentence or like a vocabulary word that you keep forgetting right before a test, that might work. But if you don't really need to like memorize it long term. But if you need to memorize it long term, it's not really the best, so I don't really recommend it that much. Okay, next is the Pomodoro technique. If you don't know the Pomodoro technique, it's basically this technique where you study for 25 minutes and then you take a break for 5 minutes. And you just do this in many different sessions over and over again. Uh, and yeah, it just kind of helps you stay motivated, I guess. And it works for some people, it doesn't. I think it's a great way when you are doing, like, to get focused when you are doing an assignment or learning a topic that you don't have much interest in. For me personally, I think for the Pomodoro technique, it's very, very hard because it's so restrictive. Because sometimes I want to go for 45 minutes, 10 minutes break, and I set timers for that instead because I find that's just easier for me personally. Because I often get into a studying mode and then I don't want to take a break because I'll get out of that mode. But then when I first started using the Pomodoro technique, I was very restrictive on myself, so I often just said that, okay, I have a break, I should just go take a break so I don't get burnt out. But that didn't work for me because when I came back, I was just out of the zone and didn't really want to work anymore. So honestly, it's really good if you want to get started with studying. But if once you're in the groove, I don't think the Pomodoro technique is that helpful. But that's just my opinion. It might be really, really great for you. But I'm going to put it in average because it works sometimes and it doesn't work other times. Next is mind maps. And now I don't really find these very useful. I'm just gonna put them in meh. I think they're very tedious and like they're space restricting, and unless it's online, it just makes it more tedious. I don't like them overall, but it might work for you again. So don't come at me. All right. Now, teaching others. I absolutely love teaching others. I think it's a great way to learn. I think it goes up there with active recall for me. I know some people it would probably be like great or good because they just don't like to teach others. I don't know, but I love it. I think it really helps me find gaps and holes in my own knowledge, and I can also just talk to people while I'm making uh things that maybe aren't that interesting for me a little more interesting. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. It really helps you review the knowledge. It's not good for first time learning, obviously, but it's really, really great for review. Next, I'll just quickly get QBanks and Anki out of the way. And mostly med school students use these, but QBanks definitely med school students use these a lot to review. And I've heard that they're really great, but obviously I'm in high school, so I don't know, but I'm just gonna put them in great because I've heard that they're great. And now Anki, anyone can use, but I haven't used them personally, so I don't really know, but I've heard absolutely great reviews for Anki. So I'll just put them in. I'll just put it in good because from what I will see, Anki is a good algorithm, but it looks kind of restrictive, and I personally just don't like restricting things. But I might be wrong if I actually do end up using it later. If I do end up using it later, I will comment down below and say that I changed my Anki um, ranking or whatever. Okay, next is reading notes, and I find this absolutely terrible because I feel like it's so passive. It doesn't really make you really think and doesn't really make you process the information. It's very, very passive. Similarly, rewatching lectures is very passive, but I'm gonna put it in average just because I feel like for me, I'm a more auditory and visual learner. And so reading notes, I'll probably just look at my diagrams, which is kind of useful for me. But rewatching lectures, having someone else explain it to me um, for one last time, or just when I'm kind of like tired and I just need a refresher on some topics, I will rewatch videos and stuff, bringing us to online videos, which I find are really, really helpful for me personally. But if you're learning a topic specifically for an exam specific to your school, then it might not be that helpful because you might not find videos based on that particular curriculum. But if you're looking at very general knowledge, then online videos are great. Just for review and for learning new information, I think they're all around really helpful for me. So yeah, that goes in good. Now making notes. Making notes, I was really kind of trying to save this for last, but I think I'm just gonna get it over with. But making notes is very, very controversial, I guess, nowadays, because active recall exists and all of those really good techniques exist. And I think definitely making notes is very tedious and not very useful in a lot of cases. But I personally love it because I really like looking back when I'm doing a homework just so I have something to go off of because I don't always have a textbook to go off of. So I think notes are really helpful that way. And also when I'm in an online class or just a class in general, I think taking notes helps me keep focused in the class because I have to listen and condense the information. And taking notes also makes me have to process every word that the teacher is saying or everything that I'm reading and condense it into my notes because obviously if you just copy down every word your teacher is saying or just write down every word in the textbook, then it won't be helpful. So I think it's really good for processing and condensing information for the first time. I think there's no point in redoing your notes, but I think making notes is really helpful for you to stay focused on what you're learning. It's really helpful for condensing information the first time you read it, and it's just great overall for me. But I definitely understand the other end of it. So I'm gonna put it in good because I think for me, I think it's great just for my personal habits. So yeah, I'll keep it in great. But I know most people will put it in average or meh kind of stages, but I'm gonna put it in great. Next is past papers. So past papers are really, really good just so you can get like a hang of the specific exam you're taking. But the problem is that there's always like a set amount of past papers that you can do. At least in my experience, you might have a different thing or whatever. But they're really, really good. I think just for reviewing, it's like already made active recall in the form of the exam that you are going to take. So that is awesome. But the thing is, you might run out of them. So that's beware of that. Space it out. So I'll put that in great. Now studying with music. Now studying with music, there's been a lot of studies on it saying that it will deteriorate your level of focus. But in my personal experience, I think that without music, I might be able to study for an hour straight. But with music, I'll be able to study for maybe 3, 4 hours straight. I think that being able to study for 2 to 3 hours more, and I'll get more work done that way than if I have just a little bit more focus and not be that interested. And definitely don't like sing along to the music. Don't like listen to those songs while you're studying because those are very, very distracting. But I think if you have one song on loop, you'll just hear it playing and you'll just be like maybe bopping along to it unconsciously, but it won't distract you because when the song keeps changing, it will distract you in my experience. Or you can just put classical or just lo-fi music. I think that always works. That won't really distract you that much, but if you're like rapping along to the music, that is gonna distract you. I'm gonna put this in good. So this is my final ranking. Let me know what you guys think about this ranking down in the comments below. And if you like this video and you want to see more stuff like this, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you get a notification when I post a new video. And make sure to like this video if you like it. If you don't, just leave. I don't want haters. So yeah, bye.